How you doing there? Welcome back to Babylon Talmud. Today we're studying Daf Kuf Lamed Daled. Why not? Why not? Daf Kuf Lamed Daled. BavaBasra, friends. Alright, pretty interesting daf. At least the first half. 1 second, I gotta rub my nose. Alright, great. Pretty interesting daf. At least the first half. Okay, so we're going to start off Kuf Lamed Gimel Amud Beis. 5 lines from the bottom, 3 lines before it gets wide. Tanu Rabban and the Rabbis taught Maise. Oh, a story. I gotta rub my nose. Alright. Maise Badam Echad Sheloi Sheloi Ayubonav Nehagen Kishura. So there was a Maise with a person whose children were being shmendriks. So Omar v'chosav nechosav leYenison ben Uziel. So he said, that's it, I'm giving my estate to Yonasan ben Uziel. Oh, we learned about Yonasan ben Uziel a few times. We're going to learn a Gemara that came in Masechta Sukkah. Gewaldige Gemara. So he gave his entire estate to Yonasan ben Uziel. Also Yonasan ben Uziel, what did Yonasan ben Uziel do? Machar shlish, so he sold a third of the estate, and I guess he put the revenue in his bank account. V'hikdish shlish, and he was makdish. He donated a third of the estate to the Beis Hamikdash. V'hechzi levanav shlish, and he taka returned, the final third he gave to the shmendrik children. Ba'olav Shammai, b'makeloi, v'tarmiloi. So Shammai then showed up, because as we're going to see, and as we know, Yonasan ben Uziel was a Talmud of Hillel. So now Shammai comes to Yonasan ben Uziel. He comes with his staff and his pouch or something, his tarmil. Omerle, and Yonasan ben Uziel says to Shammai, because Shammai was upset because, I gotta rub my nose again. What's going on? Oh man. Alright, come on. Shammai was perturbed because there was a reason why this father, normally of course children would inherit their father's estate. So there was a reason why in this case that was not the case, because they were shmendriks. So obviously the father didn't want the children to be inheriting the estate, and therefore he gave it to Yonasan ben Uziel. So why would Yonasan ben Uziel then give a third of it to the shmendrik kids? They weren't supposed to get gunished anything. So Yonasan ben Uziel says to Shammai, Im ato yochel laotzi es mashmacharti. Look, I sold a third of it. I was allowed to sell a third of it. If you can manage to take away the third of the estate that I sold to other people, or if you could take away the third that I was makdish to the Beis Hamikdash, if you could undo that, so undo also that which I gave it to the shmendrik children. Imlav, but if you can't, and obviously you can't, right? If the people he sold it to, it's theirs. You can't take it away from them. The hektish belongs to hektish. You can't take it away from hektish. So you also can't take away that which I returned to the Yisomim who were shmendriks. Omar and Shammai kind of admits, and he says, Hitiach olai ben Uziel, that it sounds like Yonasan ben Uziel bested me. Okay. Gewaldig. Meikara my sover. Now, what was the initial svara of Shammai? How come Shammai initially was perturbed that Yonasan ben Uziel gave a third of the estate back to the shmendrik Yisomim? So mishum Maise de Beis Choron, because of the Maise de Beis Choron that we learned in Masechta Nedarim. In the Tanakh that we learned in Mishnah, Maise de Beis Choron, there was a Maise in Beis Choron. Be'echad shoya aviv muder himenu hanoya. There was a fellow, and his father was unable to get any benefit from him. Vayimesi beno, and he was making a chasana for his son. And he wanted his father to come and to be mishtatif in the simcha. But his father couldn't come because his father can't get any benefit from him. So the father of the groom says to his friend, I am giving you the chotzer, where the chasana was going to be, and the suda, the meal, I'm giving it to you as a gift, so that my father can partake and be mishtatef in the simcha. Because if it's mine, he can't partake because he can't get any benefit from me. But if it's yours, then he can. So the friend says, look, buddy, im shaliyin, if the chotzer and the suda are mine, harein mukdashin l'shamayim, then I'm being makdish them to the Beis HaMikdash, and then it'll be hektish. Nobody can eat it. So the father of the groom says, I didn't give you my stuff so that you, right, my chotzer and my suda and the chasana, so that you can go and be makdish it. So the friend says, yeah, I know why you gave me the chotzer and the suda, so that you and your father can go and eat and drink and have a gewaldige time at the chasana. And guess who's gonna be in trouble? Me, for facilitating somebody who's mutter anoya from getting any benefit. For facilitating your father's mutter anoya from benefiting. He's not allowed to get anoya. You're only giving it to me on the false, to make it look ki'ilu and play games and find loopholes so that it's as if it's not yours, but we all know the truth. You're doing it just so that your father can essentially be in violation of the netter, or just be able to kind of benefit from you even though he's not allowed to. The Chacham said, "Called matana she'ena she'mikdisha mukdeshes ena matanan." Chacham say that if you have a gift that the receiver is unable to be makdish to the Beis HaMikdash, it's not really a gift. So how does this tie into our matzav with Shammai? So if I understand correctly, so be'etzem, originally Shammai, so what do we see in the story in Beis Choron? We see that that this father of the groom gave a gift, and there was a certain understanding that there was a limitation on the gift. There was a certain understanding, hey, I'm giving you the chotzer and the suda as a gift, but don't go and be makdish it. And therefore, Shammai thought that also there was a similar situation with the father and the Shmendrik Yisoibim, that he gave the estate to Yonasan ben Uziel. He took it, and he prevented it from going to his children because they're Shmendriks, and therefore inherent in that was the understanding that Yonasan ben Uziel should not be giving it to the Shmendrik Yisoibim. So Shammai thought that was inappropriate of Yonasan ben Uziel to give it back to the Yisoimim, who were Shmendriks. But I think ultimately, though, the maskana is that giving somebody a gift means that they can do whatever they want with it, and therefore it was within Yonasan ben Uziel's rights to give the estate, or a third of it, to the Shmendrik children. Tana Rabbanan, the rabbis taught, Shmeinim Talmidim Oyulo LeHillel Hazokin. Hillel Hazokin, Hillel the elder, the last of the Zugis. He had 80 students. Shloshim Me'em Re'uyim Shetishra Alein Shchina K'moshe Rabbeinu. 30 of those 80 students were fit that the divine presence should rest upon them, like our teacher Moses. Shloshim Me'em, another 30 of them, Re'uyim Shetamud Le'en Chama K'Yoshua ben Nun, was fitting for them that the sun should stand in its place, like it did for Joshua ben Nun. Esrim Benonim in the final 60 were somewhere in between the level of being on the level to receive Nevuah, like Moshe Rabbeinu, and Shechina, like Moshe Rabbeinu, and for the sun to stand like Yoshua, somewhere in the middle. Gadol Shebechulon, Yonasan ben Uziel, and the greatest of the 80 Talmidim was Yonasan ben Uziel. Kohen Shebechulon, and the least greatest of all of them was Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai. Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, they said about Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, Shleiniach Mikra uMishnah, that he didn't leave any Tanakh or Mishnah is Gemara, Halachis, V'Agodis, Diktukei Teir, V'Diktukei Sofrim, V'Kalim, V'Chamurin, V'Gzeir Shavis, V'Tkufis, V'Gematrius, V'Mishalus Kovsum, V'Mishalus Shu'alim, V'Sichas Shedim, V'Sichas Dekolim, V'Sichas Malachi Ashoris, V'Dover Gol, V'Dover Koin. Should I translate every single one of those things? Basically, every single aspect of Torah. Should I translate all those things? Fine. Aloha and Agada, you know what that is, right? Diktukei Torah. What's Diktukei Torah? Diktukei Torah. Yeah, like darshaning, like vavs and stuff. Okay, where am I now? Diktukei Sofrim, and I think mitzvahs derabanan, kavachomers, gzeir shavas. Although, what is it? Gzeir shavas? Yeah, okay, that. Oh, right, okay, fine. Tkufos, that's like constellations. Gematrios, interesting, it doesn't say Gematrios as like calculations, but Gematrios as like Rashi Tevis and stuff. Mishalus Kovsim, I don't know, parables of the launderers. Mishalus Shualim, parables of the foxes. Sichas Shedim, the speech of the demons. V'sichas Dekolim, and the speech of the trees. V'sichas Melchi Ashoris, the speech of the ministering angels. V'davar Gadol, v'davar Katan, and big things and small things. V'davar Gadol, Ma'aser Merkava. V'davar Gadol would be the Ma'aser Merkava. V'davar Katan is Havoyus Abai v'Rava, the Kashas of Abai and Rava, the Kaima Shenemer lahanchil haba yesh, that to bequeath to my lovers a lot. But say Mamale, and I will fill up their storage houses. That was Yonas. That was a Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai. He knew every single nook and cranny of the Torah. And if that's Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, who we're saying is the least greatest of the 80, well then the greatest of them certainly was on a very high level. Rabbi Yonasan ben Uziel. They said about Yonasan ben Uziel, when he would sit and he would learn, all of Nisraf. Any bird that was flying on top of him would just be incinerated. Wow. Can you imagine? Oof. Wow. Says the Mishnah, Ha'omer ze b'ni nemon, ze achi enu nemon. So says the Mishnah, if a person says, this is my son, he's believed. The Gemara is going to talk about it in what context. Ze achi enu nemon. Say, this is my brother, however, he is not believed. Actually, one second. Yeah. Okay, fine. So yeah. Okay, fine. Let's go weiter. What does Rashbam say? Does he just say that? Yeah, but Gemara mefarish zachi neman lahosh. Zachi enu neman. Lahosh mechav sharei enu makirin also. Okay, fine. Because mefarish Gemara. Okay, fine. So it says the Mishnah is ebeni nemon. So somebody says, this is my son, he's believed. The Gemara is going to explain exactly what that means. Ze achi enu nemon. Now, if he says that this is my brother, he's not believing. Now, this is talking about inheritance, right? So, for example, if you have Reuven and Shimon are brothers, right? And their father Jacob passes away. Now they're going to split the estate between the two of them, right? Let's just assume they're splitting it in half. Now, Shimon says, by the way, there's also Levi. Reuven's like, who's Levi? I don't know Levi. Shimon's like, yeah, Levi, he's our brother. So we don't believe Shimon to say that Levi is their brother to the extent that now Reuven has to give Levi part of the estate, right? So let's say the estate was divided into 6 parts, let's say, right? You could divide up the estate into 6 parts. So if you divide it in half, each brother gets 3, okay? But Shimon is saying, no, there's actually another brother, there's Levi, so each of us get 2 parts. So, Reuven says, wait, I don't know who Levi is, so we don't believe Shimon to now make Reuven get 2 parts of the estate instead of 3 parts of the estate. Vitol imo bechelko, but instead, if Shimon is saying that Levi is in fact a brother, well then Shimon should give Levi from his part. Okay, so if there are 2 brothers each one would get 3 parts, if we say that there are 6 parts. So, and if there are three brothers, each one would get 2 parts. So therefore, Shimon's basically saying, look, we're 3 brothers, I'm only entitled to 2 parts. So the Mishnah says, okay, so instead of receiving 3 parts, give Levi 1 of them. Reuven, however, is going to hold on to his 3 parts. So Reuven will get his 3 parts, Shimon will get 2 parts, and Levi will get 1 part. Okay. Mace. Now, if Levi dies, Yachzu Nechasim Limkomon. Well, then, basically, so Levi's 1 part would go back to Shimon, right? Because after all, Reuven is saying he's not our brother. So if he's not our brother, then, Reuven basically held on to the part that would have been going to Levi anyways, right? So, right, so let's say there were 3 of them, so each one would get 2 parts. If Levi dies, so then half of it goes to Reuven, half of it goes to Shimon. But in this case, Levi never received his part from Reuven because Reuven said he's not a brother. So basically, Reuven just keeps his 3, and Levi's 1 part goes to Shimon, and now Reuven and Shimon would each have 3 parts. Fine. I hope that dividing the estate into 6 parts is easy enough to work with. Naflu lo nechasim b'makom acher yershu echov imo. Now, however, if Levi had his own property, right? He had bought a property or something. Well, then Reuven and Shimon will both divide it. But right, if Levi dies and Levi had his own property, so Reuven and Shimon would divide that equally because Levi was claiming that he was one of the brothers. So if he's one of the brothers, well then, he's saying that Reuven is my brother, and if he's saying Reuven is my brother, so then if Levi dies, so then Reuven will inherit half of his property as well as Shimon, meaning additional property, not the estate that they inherited from the father. Okay, I hope that wasn't too confusing. Says the Gemara, Zebni Nemon Lemai Hilcheso. When we say that if a person says that this is my son, he's believed, for what? Amaviro Mashmuel says Aviro Mashmuel Liyorsho Veliftor Es Ishto Minayibim. Well, for 2 reasons. 1, to inherit him. Okay, he says, look, it's my son, and therefore he's going to inherit me. Okay, and secondly, so that his wife would not have to do yibum, right? If his wife, right, if he dies and there's no children, well then yibum becomes a thing. But if he says, I have a son, well, if there's a son, then there's no yibum, so he's believed. Liyosho pshita. Okay, so obviously, if he says, I have a son, and therefore that son can inherit him, obviously he can inherit him if he wanted. If he can give it to him as a gift if he wanted to. He can give it as a gift to anybody. If he says, my son, he's going to inherit me, okay, fine, say that, let him inherit you. So, lifto as ishto minayibum itzri chalei. Oh, but the reason, okay, enochinami, right? His son inheriting him is obvious, sure, but the chiddush is more for the fact that we say that when he says that he has a son, so now his wife doesn't need to do yibum. Hanami tanini. But 1 second, this is Zoiche the Mishnah in Masechta Kiddushin Misha Omar b'Shas Misaso. If a person says at the time that he's dying, Yesh li bonim, I have children, and therefore there's no need for yibum. Neman is believed Yesh li achim, but if he says I have brothers, and therefore there is a need for yibum, Eino Neman, he's not believed. Hasam d'lo muchzak lam ba'ach. Okay, so now says the Gemara over there. It's kind of an answer, but it's important to also understand that Mishnah, that we're talking about a situation where there's no chazaka that the person who's dying has brothers, and there's also no chazaka that he has children. So be'etzim, there was no chazaka, there was no assumption that his wife was going to have to do yibum b'chal. We had no reason to think that he had brothers or children. So now if he says, I have children, so he's believed, and she doesn't have to do yibum. Okay, he has children, fine. And now, and we're saying if he says now that he has brothers, he doesn't bring proof or anything like that, there's no witnesses, he just says that he has brothers, we don't believe him to make her now have to, have a whole yibum situation. So again, Misha Amar b'Shas Misal, so a person says at the time that he's dying, Yesh li bonim, I have children, Neman, he's believed. Yesh li achim, if he says I have brothers, however, Einu Neman, he's not believed. Hasam, T'lo muchzak lon ba'ach. So, meaning what happened? We had said that if a person, right, Rav Yehuda Amar Shmuel had said that if a person says that he has it, well, the Mishnah had said, right, Omer Zebni Neman, he's believed. And Rav Yehuda Amar Shmuel said that the Torah says Isho Mina Yibum. But why would I need the Mishnah over here to say that if a person says that he has a son, he's believed, and therefore his wife doesn't need to do Yibum? We already have a Mishnah in Masechta Kiddushin that says Mishamar b'shas misoso yesh libanim ne'eman. He's believed. Well, over there's no chazaka that he has any brothers. Okay, so we believe him. But over here, we have a chazaka. Now, if there were witnesses that he has brothers, well then, if he just says that he has a baby, who cares? There are witnesses that he has. One second. Okay, fine. Okay, we're about to explain this whole thing about why when he says he has a baby he's believed. But if there are witnesses that he has brothers, and now he just says that he has a baby, so then he won't be believed. But if there's a chazaka that he has brothers, and he says though that he has a baby, so saying that he has a baby is enough for his wife for us not to require her to do chalitza. It would be stronger than that chazaka that he has brothers. Again, if there are witnesses that he has brothers, well then, you can't just say he has a kid. She would have to do yibum or chalitza. Now, but again, there's a chazaka that he has brothers, but he says I have a son, so then she would not have to do chalitza. Okay, fine. And that is the chiddush of our Mishnah, that afagav demuchzak lebach. Even though we have a chazaka that he has a brother, still, when he says that he has a son, there would be no need for yibum or chalitza. Amr of Yosef, Amr of Yudah, Amr Shmuel, says of Yosef, Amr of Yudah, Amr Shmuel, Mipnema Amru Zebni Ne'eman. Okay, so why do we say that when he simply says, right, we say that we have a chazaka that he has brothers, but he says I have a son, and now he's believed. Why? Why is saying that he's a son, why is he believed? Well, if a husband says, I divorced my wife, so we believe him. Since if a person says, I divorced my wife, we believe him. So therefore, since he could say that he divorced his wife and he'd be believed, and then if they're divorced, then she's not a widow. And therefore there's no yibum at all, right? So therefore, if he was lying, he also could have just said that he divorced his wife. So therefore, we believe that, right? If he says he divorced his wife, he'd be believed. So when he says that he has a son, also we believe him, because if he was lying, he could have just said that he divorced his wife. So we believe that he actually has a son, and that's stronger than the chazaka. Amr of Yosef, Marid Avram. Yosef says, one second. Tali Tanya, Bidelo Tanya. Understand? We have a Mishnah that says that he's believed to say that it's his son. We're explaining how do we know that he's believed to say his son? When we just bring an explanation from like a svar. Well, he could have just said that that he's divorced. But we're explaining a Mishnah from like a svar. Elo rather, if you're gonna explain it like this. No, not just because because of a memra of he could always just say that he's divorced, but no, it's because he can divorce her, right? Since he has in his power to divorce her, and if he was, if he just didn't want her to have to do chalitza, so then he could just divorce her. So if the whole reason was he just simply doesn't want to do chalitza, he could divorce her. So therefore, since he could do that, he's also believed to just simply say that I have children. Because again, if the whole point was that he just doesn't want to have to do chalitza, he could just divorce her. So therefore, when he says I have a son and therefore she doesn't have to do chalitza, we assume. What the heck is going on? What the heck is going on there?
I hope tomorrow morning. You can put it in the mail. So perfect. Okay, good.
Alright. See ya. Alright, no con. That's weird. This door slam. Anyways.
Thank you.
Come on, the people are waiting. Okay. Anyways, okay, so therefore, because he could divorce her, so if the whole point was that he doesn't want her to do chalitza, so then he could just divorce her. So if he says that he has a child, so we believe him. Fine. Amar of Yosef says of Yosef, Hashad Amar Tamin and Hoel. So now that we say that we could say Hoel, that there's the door slamming. So since we say that, we believe him that he has a child, since he could have said that, since he could divorce her. So Baal Shomer Girash Es Ishti Neman. So therefore, based on that, we say that if a husband says that he divorced his wife, so he's believed, because after all, if he could just divorce her. So Hol V'Yodel L'Gasher, since he could divorce her. Kielsa Rav Yitzchak Bar Yosef Omer Rav Yochanan Baal Shomer Girash Es Ishti Eino Neman. However, when Rav Yitzchak Bar Yosef came, he said the name of Rav Yochanan that a husband who says that he divorced his wife, he's not believed. When a peach of sheshes biyadei, ozolei hoil to Rav Yosef. So Rav Sheshes just kind of signal with his hand. Oh, well, there goes Rav Yosef's svara of hoil. Ini, is that really true? Amar B'chia Bar Avin, Amar Rav Yochanan. But B'chia Bar Avin says, Rav Yochanan Baal Shomer Girash Es Ishto Neman, that if a husband says that he divorced his wife, he is believed. So lokasha kan l'mafer kan lahaba. Oh, so it depends if it's talking about for the future or retroactively. If a husband says that he divorced his wife, she's believed from that time on. Okay, from that time on, we assume that she's divorced. However, if he says that I divorced my wife a month ago, well, we don't assume that she was divorced a month ago. And if she was with somebody else in between, 2 weeks ago, we can't assume that she was already divorced at the time. So we ask now, so if a person says that he divorced his wife a month ago, so can we actually trust that? Mi palginan dibura. Hello, palginan dibura. Oh, so we have palginan dibura. It's going to come up in Masechta Sanhedrin. We're already starting to get, I feel like we're starting to already get into some Sanhedrin sugis recently. Anyways, so the shaila is palginan dibura. Can we divide a person's statement in half? Right, so in this case, we're saying that he divorced his wife, but a month ago. So we don't believe him limafreya. So can we say, well, we'll trust you for the future, but not for retroactively? So can we divide up his statement and say this part we'll accept, this part we won't, or do we have to throw out the entire statement? Rav Mari, Rav Zvid, Machlekes of Mari, Rav Zvid, Chanomer Palginan, V'Chanomer Lo Palginan. So one opinion is, yes, we can split up the statement and accept the part about the future and reject the part about the past, the retroactivity. And the other opinion is Lo Palginan, that we cannot divide it up, and rather we got to throw out the whole statement. But why should this be any different than Rava? The Rava that Rava says, Masechta Sanhedrin, Ish ploni ba al ishti huvach mitzarfin largo, that a husband can pair together with another witness to testify about somebody that he slept with his wife. Right? So a husband can testify about another person. Right? A husband together with one other person can testify about some shmendrik, that the shmendrik slept with his wife. Now the thing is, he can't testify. Now it takes two to tango, right? Meaning, if he's testifying that this person slept with his wife, so he's not just testifying about the other person, he's also testifying about his wife. But the thing is, he's obviously related to his wife, so he can't be a good witness about his wife. So now we say, right? So ploni baal ishti huva achim starting to go. So the husband can join together with another witness and to get the shmendrik killed, the argo v'lo argo, but not to get her killed, because he's a relative vis-a-vis his wife, but he's not a relative vis-a-vis the other person. He's trusted vis-a-vis the other person, but not vis-a-vis his wife. So there we say palgina dibura. So how come over here it's a machlokas about the statement saying that he divorced his wife a month ago? So betray gufa palginan b'chad gufa lo palginan. Well, because when it comes to two different people, so we could say, okay, we'll trust you regarding to this person, we can't trust you regarding that person. But over here, it's just one statement of, I divorced my wife a month ago. So the shaila is, can you divide that in half or not? One opinion is, yes, you can. The other opinion is, no, you can't. That was daf kuf lamedal of Masechta BavaBasra. Very interesting daf. With the first part of the daf, we had a shtickle story about Yonasan ben Uziel and the Ma'aseh de Beis Choron, and then that anecdote about the 80 students of Hillel all very interesting stuff. And then we got into some more like inheritance stuff about claiming somebody's your son or your brother and all that very, very interesting stuff. And we got to the interesting sugya at the end of Palgin and Dibura, which again is going to come up in Masechta Sanhedrin. Peace out.